Hello violinists, welcome to Prime Strings. I'm Henriette, and in this lesson I shall be teaching the E minor scale from the Grade 1 scale book. So you're very welcome here. If you've never played at this scale before, we're going to learn it together. And I'm hoping that by the end of the lesson you will be able to play this scale as you are required to play it in your grade exam, with a good quality sound, beautifully in tune and off by heart. And it will sound like this. So let's go ahead and let's learn this scale together, shall we? We're going to start by just exploring the notes, and we're going to play each note twice with long bows. And we're starting on the first finger on the D string, so let's just test your finger. And when you're ready, here we go. And well done. You may have found that some of the notes have been a bit different from how you expected them to be, and that is the nature of this E minor natural scale. So let's just think for a moment about where you're going to place your second fingers. Now on the D string, your second finger is called F sharp, and it is a wide space away from the first finger. Then when we go on to the A string, your second finger is close to the first finger. There we are. So bear in mind when you play that your second fingers are not opposite one another when you play on the D string and on the A string. No, the second finger on the D string is wide and the second finger on the A string is close. And that causes something else to be a bit more challenging. Now this is a grade exam, so we can be a bit more challenging maybe than what you have been doing in the past, is when you play from this low second finger on the A string to the fourth finger on the A string, like it's marked in your book, is the right one. And can you see the 4 is written in brackets? I've definitely played that with the fourth finger. But because your second finger on the A string is low, that'll feel like a massive stretch. So when we next play our scale, we're doing it in exactly the same way. So slowly, each note twice with long bows. And I want you just to focus on those second fingers on the D string and on the A string, but also feeling the stretch to the fourth finger once you get there. Here we go. And close together now. Very good. Let's think a little bit more about that fourth finger. Fourth fingers are always easier to play when you relax your left thumb. So what I'd like you to do is play that fourth finger now, just for practice. And I want you to check it with your open E string. And those two notes should sound exactly the same. But it makes it easier to reach your fourth finger if your thumb comes up. So in a moment we'll play the scale again. And just as you put your fourth finger down, I want you to ease your thumb up a little bit so that you support that pinky. That pinky's got very small muscles, very thin muscles. So it needs a little bit of help, and you can help it by moving your thumb up that way. Okay, here we go. From the beginning, one more time. And play the open E string if you can. So bring your elbow under the violin so you create a little tunnel here underneath your fingers so that your A string can ring freely. Awesome. Now let's start on the fourth finger and then go down. Give your arm a well-deserved rest, because you have been playing some very challenging stuff so far. So all good, you're making progress, brilliant. Now on our next playing I want to work on the tuning of this scale a bit more, because this is probably, in all of your grade 1 scales, this is probably the most challenging scale as far as intonation goes. So let's think about the third fingers now, and whenever we play a third finger on the D string, you can check it with your open G string, and whenever you play a third finger on the A string, let's check it with the open D string. So we're just going to bring in a couple more pauses where we can just check our tuning on our next playing. Here we go. And here a moment. Can you check this third finger and listen very carefully if it matches with the open G string? If you play those two notes together, you can probably hear that they are blending in together because they're both called G, you see. So if you find yourself playing like this, ooh, those two notes are clashing and your finger is not quite in the right place, you can probably tell that I've raised my finger a little bit, so I'm going to lower it now. Let's listen again. Oh, yeah. So once you've found your precise spot where your third finger is in tune, let's play the third finger again and then carry on. Moment. Check this note with your open D string. Listen out to hear if you can hear those two notes blend rather than clash. If they clash, your finger is not in the right place. If they blend in very nicely, then you're spot on. Now, here I've got a gap between the low second finger on A and the third finger, so it may well be that this time your third finger wants to fall a little bit too flat. This is the result. Oh, that's not as we wanted, is it? So make that gap a little bit wider and then check again if your notes blend in nicely. Awesome, and now carry on. Let's practice the tuning of the E with the fourth finger. Carry on. 3. Is it still blending? Carry on going down. And check this again, the third finger on the D string with the open G. That's it. And that was superb practice. You see, we're getting a little bit technical because this is a very technical scale. But this is your way to perfect intonation. So if you find you were really having to work just now, perhaps wind the video back and practice it again, or perhaps practice it again tomorrow, so that you really become familiar and you get those notes in your ears so that you already know how they sound and blend in with the open strings. We're going to move ahead now and develop our intonation a little bit more, and we're going to play this scale with a piano accompaniment. So in a moment I'm going to switch on the accompaniment and you'll see me running up and down coming back in this video. So listen carefully and get started without me if it starts already and I'm going to be late. So this is always a bit of a challenge. So be ready because it will start quite abruptly, I warn you. And that was very, very nice playing, and in this way you can really relate your own tuning to a piano, and that will help you play it even better in tune. Well done. Now we're going to move on now, and we're going to come away from the double note playing. So now we're going to play the scale as it's printed in your music, and I want you to aim to play all the E's with a long bow and all the quavers or eighth notes with a half bow, and you will find that your quavers or your eighth notes are going to alternate playing on the upper half of the bow, so from the middle to the point, and then the next time after you've played an E again, your quavers or your eighth notes are going to fall onto the lower half of the bow. And structuring your bow in this way is going to enhance your tone quality, so let's just explore how that might work, shall we? 3, 4. Upper half now. Long bow. And lower half now. Whole bow. that again. And long bow. Upper half. Whole bow. Awesome. Now, I think you know by now how the scale goes off by heart. So we're playing it from memory, try to come away from your book. And this time I want you to start mezzo forte, so medium loud, and then play a crescendo, gradually getting louder to your top note. And your fourth finger on the A string is your top note. That should be your loudest note. And as you go down the scale, I want you to keep that volume up and keep loud forte until the end. So let's explore that, shall we? 3, 4. And you see, you get some performance into your playing now, because in your exam you're not just expected to play any old way. I would like you to really drive your notes and play to the best of your ability. We've talked about that earlier on in this series, and I want you to do that again. Even when you play a more technical scale like the E minor scale, still that quality of sound, that crescendo to the top is still very, very important. So let's practice it once more. 3, 4. Wow, terrific. And now you can start to slur your scale as well. You can see from the bracketed section at the top of your page in your book that you play this both separate bows and slurred. So now we're on to the slurred version, and when you play this scale slurred, everything gets the whole bow. So both a single crotchet or a single quarter note or 2 notes slurred, everything will have the whole bow. Let's practice that, shall we? And awesome, one more time, and this is your last playing in this lesson, so make it your very best one. We want the cleanest sound, the best quality sound, the warmest quality that you have on this final playing. Here we go, and congratulating you on your huge progress that you've made in this video. Really well done. Come back to it another day so that you don't forget it as you learn other scales and arpeggios, but superb work today, well done. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we'll be learning the E minor arpeggio. Goodbye.